Now, me ask one question. When me I go about my business and me I drive and police come now and stretch out the answer, me must stop. You see, whenever you're there somewhere and police walk up to you and say, yo, why you there? So then I no right for you so that you're free for the anywhere in Jamaica at any time as long as you're not trespassing. My rights gone right this way, you know, because they restrict my rights of freedom of movement, you know. Yeah, bless up everyone. Yeah man, welcome back to Jamaica Biz. I know it's your boy I Jamaican the Lion. You understand? Alright, so today we're going to go through some basic human rights that you have as a Jamaican. I think I'm going to go to probably about 21. I'm going to go about 21 of them. You understand? There are others, but I'm just going to cover these. Alright, and you can always go and do your whole research and you understand? Get a better understanding. As a matter of fact, I urge you to do so. Go forward and get your own information, your own research. You have the Jamaicans for Justice site that you can go on and they have I think they have a PDF file that can help you to understand the rights of the Jamaican. Alright, so this should be very interesting, so don't gonna soon come back. Yeah man, welcome back people. Alright, so before going further right now, I want to big up everyone who has been supporting the channel so far. You understand it, everyone really good, you know. And yeah man, rest up for the support and just continue to support, I understand. So right about now, as we said, we're going to talk about human rights, so basic human rights as a Jamaican. So before we get into that, first things first, we have to know what are human rights? What do you consider to be human rights? And in my definition, and I think a fair definition would be, human rights are basically rights that you have for being human. You know, from the day you're born, you have those rights, you understand, and privilege that you have as a human being. Those are my opinion, you understand, and my definition. You understand, you can formulate your own. I think human rights are those rights that you have for just basically being a human being. You understand, these rights can be considered to be indivisible, right? Which means that basically none of your rights are more important than any. You understand? So you can't say your right to life is more important than your right to express yourself. You understand? They can also be interdependent. You understand? Your right to government can be affected directly by your right to freedom of speech or education or whatever. So they depend on each other. You understand? They can also be inalienable. You understand? So as long as you're a human being, these rights cannot be taken away from you. So you can't say, alright, I want to change being a human being tomorrow and I want to be a rabbit, I want to be a goat. As long as you're alive, even when you're on the hospital bed and the last breath is in your body, as long as you have breath in your body and you're still alive, you have these rights. You understand? So I'm going to be reading, nevertheless, you understand? I'll formulate a little thing on my phone and I'm going to be reading off my phone. You understand? So you might see me looking down some other times, that's because I'm reading. Alright, so the first one we're going to get into is your right to life, right? Alright, so right to life, liberty and security of persons, except in the execution of the sentence of a court in respect of a criminal offence of which the person has been convicted. This sounds like one old right, because the death penalty still stands in Jamaica. You know, like, basically I say, the only way right to life can be taken away from you if the court orders say you must get executed. Basically, that's what it's explaining to me. You understand? The second one now, we have the right to freedom of thought, conscience, belief, and observance of political doctrines. I want to pay attention to the conscience part. You understand? Alright, next one. The right to freedom of expression. Alright? Why must I pay attention to conscience? You ever wonder why sometimes some artists sing some song and they're really violent? And a big gun them a sing about and killing and whatever, and you wonder, so wait, how they not getting in trouble for this? Because you have the right to free conscience. You understand? You express yourself. Remember your conscience and what you think, you know. You have a right to say anything. Basically, that's what it's saying. You understand? Without being prosecuted or anything like that. So that's why them can say they think that nothing will come out of it. So you have your right to freedom of expression to all my police friends, because this is helpful to you know, because a lot of you don't even know this. You understand? Alright. The right to seek, receive, distribute, or disseminate information, opinions, and ideas through any media. I'm going to read that one more time. The right to seek, receive, distribute, or disseminate information, opinions, and ideas through any media. You understand? So if you have any idea, any opinion, whatever not, you have a right to express it in a newspaper, the news, whatever not, through any media, even social media. You understand what I say? Even social media. That's why the other day when they said they are going to lock up people based on what they post on me, I wonder how they do that. Cyber, do you understand me? I wonder how they do that, because now your rights that they might take away from you, right? This one. You understand? But people, you also have to understand that with rights comes responsibility. And the responsibility is for every single citizen, just like all the rights are for every single citizen. You understand? Alright. The right to peaceful assembly and association. That one is very important to Jamaicans, because we love a part of them. And I want to explain something to you. You never wonder why sometimes police lock off party and dance or whatever, and blah blah blah. Apart from the time you pass the time, sometimes what happens, as long as the party peaceful or whatever, police not trouble. But you see, once a fight break out or whatever, no, you're now disturbing the peace. And once you disturb the peace, guess what? You lose the right now for your assembly or whatever not. You understand? So that's why sometimes they lock off the dance. So as long as you congregate, you know, make no bag of noise, you know, this, you know, that or whatever not, according to the human rights of Jamaica, you are free to do so. According to COVID-19, you are not allowed to do so, alright? So that one right, so we lose what there because of COVID-19. The right to peaceful assembly and association. Alright, next one. The right to freedom, the one is important. The right to freedom of movement, that is to say, the right of every citizen of Jamaica to enter Jamaica, and of every person lawfully in Jamaica to move around freely throughout Jamaica, to reside in any part of Jamaica, and to leave Jamaica. My police friend them, please listen to this again. The right to freedom of movement, that is to say, the right of every citizen of Jamaica to enter Jamaica, and of every person lawfully in Jamaica to move around freely throughout Jamaica, to reside in any part of Jamaica, and to leave Jamaica. Now let me ask one question. When I go about my business and I drive and I go over the speed limit, right? I'm not going over the speed limit. I don't have any contrabands, I don't have anything illegal or whatever not. And police come now and stretch out their hands and I must stop. And I must hand them my documents. What are they doing now? My rights gone right this way, you know, because I restrict my rights of freedom of movement, you know. I'm free to go anywhere. You see, whenever you're there somewhere and police walk up to you and say, yo, why are you there? So then I have no right for you so that you're free for the anywhere in Jamaica at any time, as long as you're not trespassing. You're free for the anywhere in Jamaica. The law said that. You understand? You're free to go anywhere in Jamaica. Anywhere, as long as you're not trespassing on anyone's property, you're free to go anywhere, and the police are supposed to access you. What you're there, sir? You understand? Them have violated your rights. You don't have to answer them. You understand? You don't have to answer. Alright. Moving on. Next we have the right to equality before the law. That is interesting. The right to equality before the law. This means whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether your hair pretty or look like mine. You understand what I say? You're supposed to be equal in front of the judge. Interesting, not true? And that this is a right of Jamaicans. Anyway, the right to equitable and human treatment by any public authority in the exercise of any function. I'm going to read that one more time. The right to equitable and human treatment by any public authority in the exercise of any function. We don't need to explain that. Right, me explain that. If we start to explain that, I'm not going to stop. Right, I want to listen to that one right now. See? The right to freedom from discrimination on the ground, there should have been grounds, of being male or female, pay attention, race, place of origin, class, color, religion, political opinions. Listen one more time. The right to freedom from discrimination on the ground of, should have been grounds. Listen the grounds them now. Being male or female, race, place of origin, class, color, religion, political opinions. You notice one never in there? You notice one never in it? So you no got no rights. You know who me attack. You got no rights. You understand? You're not free from discrimination. Who know? Anyway, moving on. Then counteract right also. The right to everyone to protection from search of the person and property, respect for protection of private and family life, and privacy of the home, and protection of other property and of communication. Moving on. One next important one. The right of every child to be protected by virtue of being a minor, part of a family, society, and the state. You understand? I'm going to tell you something right now, people. You see, a lot of times, the KFC line across road or wherever, there's some place, you see some little pitney have some little thing, a seller or whatever not. They have no business out there, so. You see, if the laws of Jamaica were being pushed as how they should, then parents so they are jail. You see, that child with underage and they out there sell, he has the right of every other child. If they're home or doing homework, he should be cared for, nurtured for, provided for, if you are providing himself. You understand? He has the right to be protected. He has the right to be nurtured and cared for by his parents or his guardians. He has the right to just beg nobody no money. But these are some of the things that the Jamaican law overlooks. You understand what I say? And I know people are going to say, well, I just too chocolate in myself, I just too, I just this. I say, well, normalize it. You understand? We normalize it and that no means say right. You understand? Well, moving on, because when we start talking, I ain't stopping. Moving on. The right of every child who is a citizen of Jamaica to public educational institution at the pre-primary and primary levels. We kind of have that a little bit. They say education free. Anyway, moving on. The right to enjoy a healthy and productive environment free from the threat of injury or damage from environmental abuse and degradation of the ecological heritage. Pretty straightforward, right? The right of every citizen of Jamaica to be registered to vote. That means every citizen of Jamaica basically have a right to vote according to the rights, the human rights of Jamaica. According to the human rights. Because you know, reality different from what it should be. You understand? These are some very interesting things. Some of them I didn't know, but as a matter of fact, I knew all of them, but I don't remember them. So this is why I have to put together on my phone and be reading to you guys. You understand? Anyway, moving on. The right of every citizen of Jamaica who is so registered to vote in fair and free elections. Fair and free election. What name though? Do they have that at Jamaica? Is that's in Jamaica? Or some foreign something that? I don't know about that at Jamaica. I don't know about that? Comment down below. Tell me about it. Alright, moving on. The right of every citizen of Jamaica to be guaranteed a passport and not to be detained or deprived except by due process of the law. Alright, let me see if we can explain that one I know. Alright, there are circumstances where a person may be charged for a specific crime. You understand? And because of that, you cannot leave the country. So you have to surrender all your travel documents and you cannot leave. Because of due process. That is a right as well. But probably I got, end up. Yeah, it's there as well, due process. So, if you're involved in a certain kind of thing and the court says you can't leave the country, then even if your passport expires, then you can't get. Then probably if you forget a new one, because you're supposed to get here as a citizen, you can't travel. And they can take you away from you. You understand? So they can just basically subdue your traveling. You understand? Alright, moving on. The right to protection from torture or inhumane or degrading punishment or other treatment. You understand? So basically equal rights and justice for all. And when I say equal rights, I'm not talking about Aisha and equal rights. I'm talking about the real equal rights. Alright, people? Alright, moving on. The right to freedom of the person. Right to freedom. But you know with rights come with responsibility, right? So you have rights and responsibilities. Maybe we do a video upon the responsibilities and maybe you can just research it. You understand? So you don't know say if you should take away someone's right, as in someone's right to life, which you have the responsibility not to do, then you're also going to lose one of your rights, which is your right to freedom. So if you come and kill me and police catch you, them are going to lock you up, you're going to go to jail. You have your right gone, your right to freedom gone, and some other rights gone too. Because when you get there prison, you lose the rights them basically, or some of your rights them. You understand? Moving on. The protection of property rights. You have a right to protect your property or whatever and blah blah. We all know, you know. The right to due process. Let me see if I can explain. This is what I'm telling you about. When I talk about the passport thing. The right to due process now. Would that be like, if you then say you have a right to a speedy trial, that was some country that said. You have a right to a speedy. So if you have a situation in front of the court, them have a right to give a speedy trial, a timely trial then. You understand? Worse if you are expatriates and all that. You understand what I say? So basically that's what it means by the right to due process. You have to do the courts. You understand? Yeah. This is the last one. The right to freedom of religion. The right to freedom of religion. When you say the right to freedom of religion, it means basically that you choose whichever religion you want to be a part of. You understand? I guess it means you can form your own religion too. If you consider it to be a religion. You understand? So whether you want to be a Rastafarian or you want to be a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or whatever, there should be no discrimination against such. You understand what I say? So basically that's what it means when you say right. It's pretty straightforward. Right to religion. You understand what I say? You have other rights as well. You understand? You have other rights that are there. You can comment down below. Tell us some of the rights that you know. You understand? And I urge your people. I really urge as much as possible. Try and go on the Jamaica for Justice site. The little time where I spend on Facebook and WhatsApp and Twitter and Instagram. You understand? Just spend a little time and just read through. I think they have a PDF file on the Jamaica for Justice site. We explain a lot of things to you. You understand? When you're being arrested and whatever not. And that is a right as well. When you're being arrested, you should know what you're being arrested for. You understand? When you're being arrested, someone should explain to you clearly. They should communicate to you clearly what you're being arrested for. So, therefore, if I am an expatriate and I speak Spanish, and a police officer is going to arrest me and they speak English and they cannot speak Spanish, someone should be there on the grounds to explain to me thoroughly what I'm being arrested for. And if you notice, whenever you're being read your rights, they always ask you at the end, do you understand these rights? Because you have to understand, because if you go before the courts and the police never read that to you, they're in problem. You weren't properly arrested, basically. You understand? So there are a lot of rights, and as I said, with rights comes with responsibilities, because, you know, you have a responsibility to not take anyone's life. And if you try to take my life, I have a responsibility to protect my life. You understand? So rights and responsibilities. So if you try to take my life, I have a responsibility to protect my life. So, you know, you probably lose your rights in trying to take my rights. You understand? Because you probably get something right in some place where things not go right with you again. You understand? Yeah, man. So that's it, people. You understand? Thank you for tuning in. You don't know it's about Jamaican. Please subscribe, share the video. You understand? And if there's any additional information, you can put it down in the comment section. You understand? Anything that you would like us to speak on next, you can let us know. You understand? So that's it. We're out. Rush them and crush them. Thanks for your support.